It's one thing that I'm realizing in this season, with only 2 episodes in, is that for the most part, everybody except for Miriam, because she definitely gives deceitful vibes, everybody is very, very honest and forthcoming, both with their positive traits, perspectives, and mindsets, as well as their negatives. Ciao. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the biggest thing that's chapping my ass. Uche, you started out this whole thing gaslighting the hell out of Aaliyah. I don't give a damn what you talking about. She comes in for their first date, and we only get to see him in that moment. Throughout the whole episode, they don't really go back to them after this. And she lets him know, like, I feel like you condemn me. I don't want to be judged in my relationship. I want to be able to just be open and honest. And you made me feel this way, this way, and this way. You made me feel um, like you don't think I'm worthy of your love. You made me feel like you were questioning if I would do that to you. And he gonna talk about, did I say that? Yes, Negro, you did. You literally said to her that how do you know that she won't cheat on you because she cheated on that boy 2 years ago? You literally said that. Then he turns around and says, well, if I said that, I'm sorry. Asshole, you did say it. And I hate a if I person in an apology. If I hurt you, if I said this, if it came off this way. I just told your ass that it did, which means it is, at least for me. If you're trying to give me an apology, then be accountable to it and stop adding in a little bit of variable up in there because it's only you trying to scapegoat your ass up out of accountability for it. It was the gaslighting for me. But then he goes into he needs to correct the issue because the issue is with him and he has a problem with trusting people. You are 100% right. This is your issue. And I'm glad that you realized it. But it's just a little too late, a little too long, and she can't wait. Aaliyah, get your and go, girl. I don't give a damn about what connection you feel to this man, what you see with this man. He has already given you enough. With this one thing, this to me is big enough to be like, okay, yeah, no. Because personally, and how I'm perceiving it, how he handled his response and his bullshit ass trauma around cheating alluded to other things that could potentially become issues within their relationships. Yes, he needs a damn therapist to unpack his issues with cheating and his judgment and all that cool. But the way that he got real nasty and he did condemn her gives me that he's also capable of physical and mental and verbal abuse in y'all's relationship. Some red flags are nothing but bigger red flags for smaller red flags. And to me, that whole entire exchange from his goofy ass monologue trying to guilt and shame her to the JP asking him if he can forgive her, basically making her past mistake about him when it had absolutely nothing to do with him. Girl, is that what you want for your relationship? He is letting you know that in his interactions with you or his romantic partner, he is the goddamn son. How he thinks, what he feels, what he needs supersedes everything because he was so easily able to slip into a space of complete and utter dictatorship ass judgment on you, pedestalizing himself as if he's goddamn God, going so far as to say, I cheated, but it was only a kiss, to make sure that you understood how monumental he felt like your transgression was while minimizing his own. No, absolutely not. Mm-mm. Uche is not it, and I was praying this episode that we would get to see Milton and Aaliyah go on a date, but we don't. We only get to see Milton fawn over Lydia's old lovesick ass. She discloses to Milton about how she was just so into Izzy and he let her down, and she even discloses how she wasn't interested in Milton because of his age, but after he reassures her, pours into her, and lets her know how deeply he desires her, now all of a sudden age ain't a factor. And Lydia is a goddamn walking red flag as well. She is going to hurt Milton, and she simply wants Milton because Milton wants her, and she wants to be wanted. This is like literally textbook. Girl, you need to find a therapist, not a man. And this is not even like shady to her, it's just honest and real. Like, I wrote down that I felt like she's an example of why some men say that women don't listen and they call us delusional. Because she literally says that she didn't get a reason why from Izzy. When, girl, yes, you did get a reason why. You might not have liked the reason why and you might want more explanation. But the problem with that is, girl, at the end of the day, we're not everybody's cup of tea. Everybody's not going to be sexually or mentally or physically or emotionally attracted to us. Everybody is not going to desire us. And everybody don't owe us an explanation for why they don't desire us. Their lack of desire or Izzy's lack of desire for you does not speak to anything that you are actually lacking. Y'all are just not aligned. Y'all are just not a good fit. And you can't see that because you just want to be wanted so goddamn bad that you are completely missing that he probably is not actually a good fit for your ass as well. But you are probably missing the red flags that he was able to catch from you because his head is a lot more clear. He's not as desperate as you are. But girl, you want an explanation from him of why he's not into you. You don't need one. He's just not that into you. And that is okay. That does not mean that you are less of a woman. It does not mean that you're not attractive. It does not mean that you're not desirable. It does not mean that you don't deserve love. Girl, he is not the grand poobah. He is not king. He is not God. He has no actual say over your value. And the only way that he does have some kind of say over your value is when you hand your power over to him and get all goofy like you being about why he don't want you so bad and allowing this to be such a huge hit on your self-esteem. And I get it. I've been in that situation as well with men. However, what I'm really struggling to understand and I think kind of empathize with, which would definitely be a shortcoming on my behalf. So I'm going to own up to that, right? I'm struggling with them only being in these pods for days. For this woman to hand over so much of her validation to this man that she don't know, ain't never seen before. I've experienced that and like allowed a man's attraction or disinterest or whatever to color how I feel about myself. But I was in a relationship with that man. I had years in, decades even at some point. Like, girl, you have known him for less than 10 days because we're not even at the end of the pod dating. And the pod dating only happens for the max of 10 days. You have known him for less than 10 days. And you are allowing this one man to color how you feel about yourself because you desire to be loved so greatly. But you are bouncing around from dating 20 different men. And you have another man that's too young. I guess that's why the only reason why you're disqualifying his opinion, who actually is interested in you. So it's just like, girl, yeah, you don't need to be here. You're not in a place where you could actually benefit from an experiment like this. You need something that this place cannot provide for you. Only thing that Love is Blind is doing for Lydia is exasperating her insecurities, her lack of self-esteem, and triggering her. And it's so hard to watch. It's cringy in the worst way. Like, not cringy in facing your fears and doing it anyway kind of way. It's cringy in that you deserve better. You don't deserve to lay your heart bare for these people who barely even know you, especially the ones who don't even want to get to know you further, and then you allowing yourself to demean or think that you're less than because these people don't get it or don't align with you. And then the way that you're walking into like being attracted to Milton only because he's attracted to you and you're going to wind up hurting this boy is going to turn you into the damn villain. When at the end of the day, you're a wounded little girl who really just wants to be loved. And the crazy thing is like you have all of the positive words for all the other women who are going through things with their men. And she's the champion for all these women and she's consoling all these women and telling these women how worthy they are. But she needs to be telling her damn self that. I really wish Milton would connect with Aaliyah. Lord have mercy. He ain't judgmental. He lived in Japan. She also lived in Japan. It feels like they would actually work out. Milton, Lydia is not it. And I don't give a damn how much you think she is. JP. I wrote at the top of this episode that JP's connection with Taylor feels so damn genuine. and he gets emotional with her when talking about his childhood, and then they get to say I love you, and I'm like, not them saying I love you. They are actually really cute, and he actually proposes later on in the episode. They get to see each other, and that's the cliffhanger for the next episode. So I'm excited to see where this goes, and once they finally are able to see each other, how they feel, and if the emotional connection matches a physical connection. Now Izzy, I was rooting for you. I was so rooting for you, but I don't understand why he's attracted. And I think he might just be sexually attracted to Stacy, but I really wrote down like I don't understand what the attraction is to her, because I don't think that she's a nice person. I don't think that she's a good person. She's talking about she's here for all the fun, and it's like it gives you're here for the ego. He does point out how she doesn't have talk about anything deep. It's always such a shallow conversation with her, which I'm glad that he actually did, because he does have the deep connection and deep conversations with Johnie, which I'm going to get to in a second. Um, but Stacy really just hovers on the surface, and she talks about, oh, just have fun. We want to be somebody that you have fun with. What about when life gets not so fun? What about when life gets real? Are you able to weather those storms, or are you just going to try to drink, turn up, and be loud and obnoxious to like fake the fun through everything and not be capable of actually standing 10 toes down when the weather gets tough? Because that's what it's given. I'm over Stacy, still over Stacy, and this is the only interaction I really get to see from her, but she rubbed me the wrong way from pretty much jump, and I've already written her off because Uche slid his ass past me. I gave him grace, and now everybody who I had an initial ick about, which is actually just him and her, I'm standing 10 toes down, and I feel what I feel. I'm trusting my intuition because I be right. I be knowing. Now, Izzy is also really connected to Johnie, but Johnie reveals something, I guess, too much when she talks about her ex that died from the overdose. He had an addiction problem. This wasn't who she was married to. And she says this is the only man that she ever loved. This was so 7 years ago. And I think that he's not responding so terribly, because he has the worst response, I swear. He detaches and he needs a second to process, which I get it. Some people do that, but this is like the worst time for him to go silent. I don't know if he's struggling with all of what she said specifically. I think he's struggling with the idea of he will never be loved as much as she loved this man. I feel like he is concerned that he is competing with a ghost, and that's a very, very, very real concern. I talk about my ex who was killed in Baltimore, and I worry about that sometimes when I think about like how I speak about him. Like, our relationship was not perfect by a long shot. We weren't even together when he passed, right? Like, we've had our ups and downs, but I've come to such a peaceful, grounded, and appreciative place for all of the good and the bad that came from that relationship. And I speak about him with a certain, I speak honestly, so I speak truthfully to the shit that happened, but I also speak with a certain level of reverence for him. And I always wonder, because I speak so honestly and so irreverent of him, if my next man is going to struggle with the idea that he's competing with a ghost, or that I love this man more and it won't change because he's dead and he has this air. And I think that that's a very real thing, but it's a thing that you can work through, because I don't think that that's what Johnie was alluding to. I think that she was giving Izzy the validation and the affirmation that he wanted, but because Johnie is so soft spoken, because everything is so calm, I don't think that he's fully grasping the levity and not the levity, the weight of what she's saying and how she's saying it. I think that Izzy is used to toxic girls, so much so that he is struggling with like his self-esteem, and he's insecure about his looks. He had the whole, the story about the girl laughing at him being bald and leaving or whatever. And it's so wild to me that he's so insecure about how he looks, because I feel like he's one of the best looking men on this whole damn show. But that's his internal thing, and we all have our things, right? But you're struggling with that insecurity already, and this feels like another weight or obstacle to get to a true sustainable love. And I think that Johnie was speaking to like she's in it and she's ready to go the distance, or at least try with you. But when you heard all of this, you felt like this is going to be a little bit too hard. And I think that he's taking a lot of his rejection and allowing that to compound with his already lack of self-esteem. I think that he also is struggling with effective communication when he's emotionally triggered. And that's going to have him wind up losing Johnie, I think, unfortunately, if he don't get his shit together. Now, if he ends up with Stacy, I do believe that he will regret it because, as he mentioned, as he noted, their relationship, their connection is very surface level. And he does seem like a genuine person who's coming to this experiment to find something real. Stacy's ass is not it. You actually found it with Johnie. Now it's about, are you willing to face some of your fears, face your lack of self-esteem, and really go for it. And I'll leave it at that. Y'all drop your thoughts on episode 2 in the comment section down below. Also, you can go and check out my Discord channel because I do have voice notes that I recorded as I was actually watching for additional initial thoughts and reactions. This little breakdown was a lot more hinged than what I am over on Discord. So if you want a little bit of more unhingedness, get into it. Give this video a like. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'm going to see you in the episode 3 breakdown.